Alert, alert, alert. We have an emergency celebrity chart reading, y'all. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Jem. Thank you for visiting an Astro Hottie's corner of YouTube where we talk all things astrology and tarot. If you're a returning user, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you guys. So, Nicki Minaj, y'all. Nicki Minaj, girl. No, I'm so sick because when I tell you she was I don't even want to say icon, but she was my icon. Like, besides Beyonce, Nicki Minaj was like it for me. I can remember the first time I heard her. I was like 9 years old. I was watching something off of Nickelodeon. Remember back then they used to have music videos in between like your shows and stuff like that. And I heard Super Bass for the first time and I knew it was it. I mean, I spent a week learning all of her songs off the little on demand music video channels. And, you know, Nicki Minaj, you can't take away that she is the one of the greatest, if not the greatest female rapper of all time. Like that legacy of her pen will never be taken away from her. But everything that she's built, the respect, adoration, she's letting it get torn down. And it's so disappointing. Like, I can't tell you how disappointed I am. And, I used to be a barb and I would give this lady so much grace. One, girl, I understand when you're an immigrant. Like, my parents are immigrants. I'm a child of an immigrant. She's from Trinidad and Tobago. Like, I understand like our culture. I'm not from Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm African. But um you know, the way that our families talk, the way that we say the certain words and certain insults and stuff like that, it really it doesn't mean that much. Like, it's not that deep, even though it should be, but it's not that deep. The way that we insult each other and talk and stuff like that, we say the wildest things, but it's really not that deep for us because it's a cultural thing. And some of the things that she just I can really see her thought patterns. Like, it's just such a cultural thing sometimes. And also, she rose in a male dominated industry and they were mean. Like, people were mean, the men were mean, they were sexist, they were cruel. Like, I get it, she's been through a lot. I've given this lady so much grace even when she says things and I'm like, girl, shut up, or you are too old to be saying this. I'm just like, you know what? She's been through a lot. I get it. When she brought this man in the picture, that I will not say his name because he doesn't deserve for me to even reference him. How evil and despicable this man is, his actions towards that young girl that they are both terrorizing. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I can see it clear in her chart. Like, let's just get into this. Let's just get into why the fuck Miss Nicki Minaj is acting like this and kind of understands her from an astrological point of view. So let's get into this. So, with all celebrities, I like to start with their 10th house, just because that is the house of public image. That is the house that we are probably most familiar with if the celebrity isn't so personal with us. Um, And so I like to see the health of the 10th house and kind of what's going on in there. So if this birth time is correct, which if it's not, please let me know in the comments down below. Um, Her 10th house is in Scorpio, which is already hard, but it's at the 22nd degree of Capricorn. So when I see someone with the 10th house in Scorpio, as I said before in previous readings, which check out my other two celebrity readings. I did one on Doja Cat and Krishan Rock. But I would also like to add here, did I or did I not predict the whole thing with Krishan Rock? I literally said, it was a day before everything blew up. I literally said, if she is not careful, if she does not learn the lessons that she needs to learn regarding that relationship and regarding that baby, well, I don't know if I said that baby, but that relationship, she will have a fall from grace. Her chart has short fame indicators. And then I said that baby's going to give her a very, very, very hard lesson, regardless of how she stands in the public eye. And guess what happened? All that shit happened, which, by the way, that's literally what Blueface did was CP. And I need one of them to be in jail by the end of this week, actually. By the end of this week, I need somebody in jail because that baby was just essayed and exposed as a child to millions of people. It was sick. I don't take, you know, I'm not happy about being right. I didn't think this lesson that she was going to learn was going to be that, but I just wanted to point that out. I also said that she is going to either, like someone in her circle, like her managing circle, or I forget exactly what I said, on her team or something like that. I said there was going to be some type of effect. Either she's going to lose people or she was going to add more people, something like that. But yeah, y'all, astrology never lies. And please pray for that baby. Like, please pray for that baby. A 10,000 Scorpio. Scorpio is all about secrets. It's a very intense water sign. Scorpios, as we all know, they do fulfill that stereotype of being real destructive. They can have a really sexual vibe to them. Um, Scorpios go deep into something, so they are very much so an investigative energy. They like to blur the lines between one entity and another. People with Scorpio Venus, like you will hear them say like, "Oh, like I want to literally live under your skin. Like I want to be one with you." So Scorpio 10th house, I've seen that your public image can be misconstrued because there is some sort of secret or a secretiveness surrounding your image as a person. People view you in extremes, so they can really, really love you, like intensely love you to the point where they are obsessed with you, or they can really intensely hate you to where like people want to see you unalived. So it's Scorpio's a very hard energy to deal with. It's ruled by Pluto, and if you go back to my other two videos, you know how I feel about Pluto. I don't think Pluto is an easy planet at all. Traditionally ruled by Mars, but I think Pluto fits Scorpio very, very well. Intense obsessiveness, stalkerish, extreme high and lows, death, rebirth. So her public image can cause a lot of extreme reactions. It can cause a lot of hate or a lot of intense obsessive love. She's very, very, very secretive about a lot of things. There's even as much as she likes to be personable and stuff like that, I think that she has a lot of secrets and dark secrets. I wouldn't be surprised that she would actually crumble if we found out about it. Um, the 22nd degree of Capricorn means that it's a Capricorn degree. So Capricorns are all about building up. They're all about starting from the ground and then building up to building an empire. And that's something Nicki Minaj has exactly done. She literally used to be on the streets handing out her mixtape, and she built and created everything she had like almost by herself. Obviously, she had help from the industry and stuff like that. But even the industry, we've seen from an objective point of view has turned against her a lot. But she has really built up a public image and curated a public image for herself. So let's in order to figure out more about your public image, we want to look at the planets within the 10th house and then also the ruling planet of the 10th house. So I'll first start with where Pluto is. Pluto's in her ninth house. It's in the 20th degree of of Capricorn, of Cancer, and it's in Libra. Sorry to y'all generation, the Pluto and Libra generation. Y'all are obsessed. I mean, obsessed with being in a relationship. I mean, it. My parents have Pluto in Libra. You could be in the most toxic, insane fucking relationship and you won't. I mean, the idea of not even either one, not being in one or leaving a relationship, it's like life or death for you. That's why y'all's relationships is so fucked up. And that's why you stay together and then you literally terrorize everybody else because of it. Pluto, already intense, obsessive death rebirth in the sign of relationships. Her public, literally verbatim. One thing about astrology, it can be very verbatim. Your public image could be destroyed by your relationships. There could be deep, intense death and rebirth because of relationships. In her relationship, so it's in the ninth house. Ninth house rules philosophy, it rules travel, it rules it rules higher education and higher learning. So she views her relationships as like a philosophy of life. Like her relationships run deeply in, I don't even think an emotional way. Well, Libra is very emotional, but like I don't even think in an emotional way half the time. I think it's like philosophically, she's like, I'm married to this person, therefore I have to stick with them. Like it is something you guys can't even comprehend on a mental level. Like I am philosophically and morally attached to my relationships and they dictate almost like her higher learning. Like she feels like she has developed so much wisdom from being married. But it's like, yes, that's true. Your relationships can do that for you. And I'm not saying they can't, but also the relationship that you're in could really destroy you. Like it's so plain right here. It's so plain and it sucks. So just doing a quick overview of the rest of the planets in her 10th house. You have Jupiter, Sun, and Uranus. She has plenty of fame indicators there. Jupiter expands everything. It's conjunct her MC, so her public image, her career, it expands as she pursues it, as she leans into it. Sun in the 10th house, you literally glow brightly in a public audience, your public image. Uranus means that Uranus is a generational planet. Uranus is all about eccentric things, sudden changes. It's also ruled by Aquarius, so like higher learning and stuff like that. So her career is very much based in higher learning for her. Like she studies her career, as we can all see, without a doubt. She studies her career. She's very good at like her flow changes. I mean, her flow is just insane, and she studies that. Like she doesn't. I think it's an innate thing that comes in her as well. But like I can tell that she studies her craft. It's something that she learns. Um, so yeah, there's that. Uh, Something else that's interesting that I wasn't expecting. She has a Virgo moon. She's very critical, emotionally, internally. She's very, very, very critical of herself, um, critical of others as well. Um, and she voices that feeling. So the 27th degree is a Gemini degree. Gemini is all about communication and words. So her moon there is, she thinks long and hard about what she does. And so that's why it's so confusing what she is doing. Actually, it's not confusing. I will explain it later. But to many, that's why it's like, we know you're smart, We know that you think a lot, you express yourself a lot, and you express those critical things. Like she, very detail oriented, um, and they're perfectionists. She's very much a perfectionist for herself and for others. And I think that's why she gets in a lot of beef sometimes, because she expects others to have the same integrity about rap as she does, or have the same sort of anxieties that she has about rap and about moving things forward. But, you know, she existed in a time when like, no disrespect to the other female rappers, there were plenty of female rappers that were respected during her time, but she opened the door for what female rap is now, for like, or was one of the people that did that. um her come was crazy, and what she did for female rap is crazy. And so I think she had to be critical of herself and had to perfect her pen every single time. And so now that we're in a different era where, I mean, female rap is respected, but it's also respected enough where we can now have fun with it. We don't always have to have the best bars of, the 21st century. We can just be fun, and like people will listen to it and not have to always criticize. Well, people are criticizing because, patriarchy, but like we don't always have to like dissect things and have, hidden meanings every single verse. So I think that's where that comes from. Something else that's interesting. Nikki has an Aquarius rising. This is why she be coming off weird sometimes. I love her, but this is that eccentric thing, back in the day with the pink bob, the iconic pink bob, but her hair was just so out there and crazy. Her outfits, her voice, like how she communicated, how she just like presented herself. So Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, traditionally ruled by Saturn, but I'll look at Aquarius here for right now. Aquarius in our 10th house of public image. That's where that like shock value comes from, when especially when she was just coming up, and like when she was doing, Pink Friday and all of that. It was so out there, but it was so eye-catching, and you wanted to learn more about it all the time. But she be a little weird. Like sometimes she says stuff and I'm like, what are you I'm like, Nikki, or her TikTok era right now. I just be like, what are you saying, bro? She cracks me up. Oh, but she pisses me off so much. Anyways, um, so yeah, that's where, she's a very eccentric human being. I think she thinks eccentrically. I think the way that she writes, I think even the way that she plans her raps is eccentric. Um, but yeah, so, let's get into what's happening right here. And then we're also going to get into this Chiron in the fourth house, child. Okay. So, right here, we have her sun. She's a Sagittarius woman. I love a Sagittarius woman. Um, I think Sagittarius women are like one of the best people on the planet because they are so open minded, but at the same time, they can be really damning. And the reason why they have this damning, like, why people like kind of go crazy about them in a bad way is because they are the sign of higher learning. They are the teacher. Gemini is the student. That's why they're sister signs. Um, they are the teacher. They are the sign of higher learning. I know a lot about my subject, or about a lot, so I'm here to educate you. The ninth house of Sagittarius can rule college. So an undeveloped Sagittarius, or just Sagittarius energy in the wrong way, gives them an ego. Let's talk about Onika's ego. Sagittariuses will literally get offended if you tell them, or they feel like you are telling them that they don't know something, especially within a subject they claim to know everything about. I'll compare it to Gemini energy. Gemini, we have a phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. A Gemini will never say that they know everything about, a certain subject, because that's just not how the energy operates, or they won't act like it. They will always be here to learn, to absorb. They can know a lot about something, maybe surpass even the average person, but they'll always feel like I need to learn. Like I said before, Sagittariuses are on the other spectrum of, yes, I love to learn, but I learned so much that now I'm the teacher. How dare you, as the student, tell me, the teacher, what I need to know? That's where that ego comes from. That's where her sun is. Sun is all about ego. It can present you as a person as well, but sun is your ego. It's how you feel as if you should operate in the world, or how you've been almost even conditioned to operate in the world. It's something that, as a child, you operate 110% in. And if you don't learn the lessons, or um, kind of take in the wisdom as you grow, you will operate from a place of ego. And that is where I feel like really hurts her, especially because it's in the 10th house of um, her public image and her fame. So she's very egotistical about her fame. She's very egotistical about her public image. She cares about it a lot. It's a soft spot for her. And there's that intensity as well. She has an intensity to her public image already, and so it can cause a lot of trouble. She also has her Venus there. So this is how she loves, and I want to take a moment to really circle in um, on this. And also, we're going to look at her fifth and her seventh house to talk about her relationships, because I think they have a lot to do with how she picks her men, as well as who she decides to surround herself with. So, her, we'll start with her Venus. Like I said, her Venus is in the 24th degrees of Pisces. How she loves, she has no boundaries in love. She is very sensitive when it comes to love. In Sagittarius, very free spirited. She wants someone that makes her feel like she is walking in somebody else's shoes. I think that she should go for someone that expands her horizons, or she feels like she does. So that's why, like, I feel like she goes after men who just that are just very different and eccentric and weird, because she's weird. And I say that in a not the men, her. I say that in a good way for her. She's weird, but like she's a good kind of weird, because she's accepting of other people usually. Her Venus is conjunct Neptune. Now, child, I have an aspect similar to that. You don't see love in the clearest light unless you like have people around you to tell you what's up. She don't be seeing her love life in the clearest light. It's also near her Mercury, which rules her fifth house of romance. It is cloudy up there, smoky mirrors. She thinks every love of her life is like her soulmate. Girl, get up, get up, get up. Also, in her 11th house, I don't like Neptune being in there, um, just because, like I said, Neptune's all about smoky mirrors. Her friendships, it just doesn't give me a good vibe. Normally, I love 11th, like, Sagittarius in 11th house, just because it means that you have friends from all walks of life. Maybe friends that have different backgrounds than you. That's why you're probably like really open minded. But Neptune in there, so close to Mercury and Venus, it just gives, you don't see who you're really surrounded by. And it just makes me a little worried, child. But I digress. Let's move on. She also has Venus squaring her moon. This is where I'm like, she needs to listen to that Virgo moon. I think out of everything in her chart, That Virgo moon is going to be her saving grace because she is very, very critical and very, very self aware and hyper aware of her intimacy issues. And she's hyper aware of of intimacy in general. She like that square tells me that she really does criticize and think of her love life a lot, but that ego gets in the way. Something about Sagittarius, like Sagittarius is real dangerous energy sometimes because it just expands and expands and expands and expands and it never goes down. It never slows down unless you have transits coming through. That's why we have transits to try to like, you know, mitigate some energies that we have when we're born with it. She don't be listening. She criticizes in secret to herself in the eighth house, moon in Virgo. I wish it was in like the 10th house or something because she criticizes internally, but she never gets it out. Like she'll express it sometimes, like words with words, but I don't think half the shit that she be thinking and it's like this is not right. I don't think it makes it out of either a diary or her like inner monologue, which is so unfortunate. Um, Her fifth house, like I said, is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is all about talkativeness, communication, fun, bubbly. That's why like her romances, she wants them to be all about like learning and lyricism. And I'm not surprised at all that she is with people who talk a lot, even rappers, Meek Mill, Safari, who yeah. Um, and this other man. I'm not surprised at all that she likes very bubbly and she wants her relationships. She wants to learn a lot from her relationships, but it's Gemini. The ruler of Gemini is Mercury, and it's in Capricorn, in the 11th house. So she wants her relationships to feel like friendships. I don't get like you know, I don't get like she's like head over heels in love. I think that she's mentally bound by a lot of people. Like she feels like I learned so much from you. You are so different from me. So I'm learning all these other things and I'm working for you. In Capricorn, Capricorn energy likes to work for a lot of things. And once you invest, it's like a finance. It's like it gives unfortunately like male energy, like you know how men on like male podcasts, they're like, oh, if I invest in you, then I expect this and this and this, but really, it's they invest in you like marriage or gift giving. They invest in you so much that they don't want to let you go because they feel like I've already given so much to you. It would literally be a waste if I leave. I feel like with her relationships, she feels like, first of all, I think she's a giver. Second of all, she gives so much to the point that she feels trapped. There's just no doubt in my mind she has been like, fuck, what the fuck did I just do? Laying down and having a baby with this man. There's no doubt in my mind. Seventh house. So in Leo, long-term relationships. Leo energy is all about being the center of attention. All her boyfriends like to be center of attention. We can all agree. They like to have the spotlight on them. She likes giving them the spotlight. Um, they like to be showered with gifts. That's why I said that I feel like she's a giver, and I feel like she gives a lot to her man or men, like the men in her life. Especially there's a lot of masculine energy in her romantic houses, and it traps her because she's like, well, fuck. I mean, I'm already here. I already gave you part of me. With this man, she's giving away her legacy to him. She's like, it's gonna literally hurt my ego if I leave. Like, it is what it is. Sick. It's so sick. So the ruler of her seventh house is the sun. The sun is in her 10th house, as we've discussed before. Her That's public image. So her relationships will always be in the public image. They'll always have something to do and affect her public image, which is very unfortunate. All right, so let's talk about this. I know this video is getting a little long, but let's do a quick run through of her Chiron, child, because there's a lot going on there. So her Chiron is in her fourth house of home, roots, family, how she feels comfortable, nurturing parent, right? So already there, I'm seeing some sort of childhood wound with her mother or the nurturing parent in her family, but we're not here to discuss that. In her home. So it's ruled by Taurus. Taurus is all about resources, luxury, wealth. Can be very stubborn energy, very slow moving. But Venus is all about feeling comfortable and self worth as well. Chiron right here is already telling me, and she has issues with her self esteem, as do a lot of people. Her self esteem might be connected to who she views as family. I don't know if there was instability in her family life. I don't know that much about her, but I mean, I know a lot about Nicki, but I don't know her family history at all. But there's some sort of instability financially. She may have grew up financially unstable. And she may have felt that her resources or lack of resources contributed to um, her worth as a person or growing up in the home, or she was responsible for that for some reason. And it was exacerbated because it's opposite of Jupiter. It's also squaring her ascendant, so that's why I'm saying that she was like physically affected by like this lack of resources, childhood wound surrounding lack of resources. So she feels as she grows up, she feels like she has to give and make sure that her home and her roots and just like her entire foundation is littered in luxury. Um, So that's something that I'm seeing too. She has a grand trine to her moon and her Mars. Um, and so that means easy flowing energy. Doesn't necessarily mean it's like a good thing. Um, but this Chiron could also mean wounded healer. And so you can heal from this, but you have to do the correct work to heal from it. Okay. So my advice to her would just be at home, focus on being a mother, focus on, making sure you feel safe in your house. I don't know if she feels safe in her house. Not saying physically, but like emotionally, even. Um, yeah. So this video is getting a little long, so I think let's end with some transits. Let's see what's going on. Uh, ooh boy. Ooh boy. Okay. Already I'm seeing here something's going to be shaken up with their home. So we have Uranus and Jupiter transiting her fourth house. It's right now in her third, but it's about to transit her fourth house. And fourth house, like I said, home, mother figure, roots, all that kind of stuff. And I think her house, oh, shoot, damn. If I looked at this before, I could have predicted that whole, you know, be careful about like either an invasion or something shaking up her household. And I think that was the whole, SWAT thing that just happened to her. Sorry to her about that. That's really scary. There's also expansion going on, but Jupiter right now is in retrograde. So instead of expansion externally, we're forced to think about things internally. So she is very much thinking about the safety of her home. She's very much thinking about her family and thinking about her family structure and dynamic. I wouldn't be surprised if once Jupiter turns retro or turns direct, either she moves or expands her household or something like that. Let's see. Mm, Child. Oh, do you guys see that Pluto? That Pluto making a square to her Pluto? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why she's going through it bad. Pluto, death and rebirth to her public image. She's being forced to reconstruct her public image. Right now, it's not going in the best way. I advise her to go the other way because this way is terrible. But she's being forced to deconstruct. It's literally like Pluto. I think of in tarot like the Tower, and Pluto in retrograde is like the Tower card reversed, and so building up. And so she's now given the chance to, I mean, it is a total destruction of her public image. She probably feels like her public image is falling apart because of all the things, like one thing right after the other. Maybe it's not going anywhere for a really long time, unfortunately. And I think she has a good question to ask herself, like, what do I want my legacy to be? Or what do I want my legacy to end with? I'll just leave that there. She has Pluto. Sorry, y'all. It's late. I gotta go to bed. She has Saturn in her first house, so very harsh lessons um, in terms of her physical appearance and physical body. She might people with Saturn in the first house, like become restrictive physically. So either she might be restricted to one place for a long time, she might become restrictive with her diet, even. I don't know about diet, but she might become restrictive with her body for some reason. I don't know. She might have to be like literally like stuck in the house for some reason. That's what I'm seeing, at least. What else can I say? Um, oh, what's interesting is that her, oof, her Jupiter is squaring her ascendant. Her Jupiter rules her 11th house of networking, audiences, friendships, big circles, big social circles. Well, I'm not even gonna go into that one. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to upset the barbs. I used to be one of y'all. Um, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. My advice to her, I really advise her to think long and hard about her public image because she has a very bad transit right now with Pluto there. It can go really well or it could go very horribly. Pluto is here to, deconstruct everything. She probably feels like all that she's built is being lost and torn apart right now. And I think there is a chance for her to rebuild it in a way that she hasn't before, in a way that she has more control over. But she's got to think about her. She's got to think about her philosophy when it comes to relationships. That Pluto, like natal Pluto in Libra, that entire generation, they've really got to think about their connection and philosophy when it comes to relationships because it can be your own worst enemy, especially if you think that's the hill you have to die on. So yeah, I'll stop there. That was Nikki the Queen. um as always, I wish everybody the best. I do not support what she's doing right now to her public image, to herself. I think that she's much better than who she surrounds herself with. It's unfortunate this is all happening because she has so many people cheering her on, but she's a grown ass woman, and she's able to make choices, and unfortunately have to be accountable for those choices. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry this is so long. I'm noticing that my celebrity readings are so long, but there's always so much to say. There's such interesting people, and their charts are always really interesting. But I hope you learned something from this. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment down below. I also got my first subscriber. I almost forgot. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you see this, I love you. I was so excited. I was like washing the dishes and I got like a notification. I was like, oh my God, someone's actually listening to me ramble. Um, but yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Appreciate it. All right. Bye bye.